Hi, I'm Katie. I'm a registered dietitian here at God's Love We Deliver. Today we're making an avocado hummus rainbow wrap. I really like this recipe because it's a non-recipe recipe. It's really like a map to use whatever ingredients you already have or that you prefer to make a nutritious meal or snack. And remember, before you start cooking, always wash your hands, any produce you're using, and any kitchen equipment you plan to use. So this recipe calls for lettuce. When I went to the store, they already had pre-washed baby spinach, so I don't have to wash it, I don't have to cut it, and it was actually less expensive than lettuce. So this is already ready to go. This recipe calls for tortillas. I chose whole wheat. That way you get the benefits of a whole grain, you get the fiber, a few extra vitamins, maybe some healthy fats. And tortillas are really versatile. You can buy a whole pack, and if you only use one or two, you can freeze them to use later. This recipe calls for hummus, but I already had a can of garbanzo beans or chickpeas in the cabinet, so I'm just gonna mash them up with a little bit of olive oil to make sort of a creamy hummus texture. You can buy hummus already made, you can make your own hummus. The nice thing about including beans of any kind is that you get the benefits of plant-based protein and some added fiber. Next we have avocados. Avocados can be a little bit tricky, sometimes they're expensive, sometimes you can't find one that's quite ripe enough or it's already too mushy. You can sort of tell by gently pressing your thumb into the avocado to see if it gives a little bit. You'll know that it's soft enough to eat. The benefits of avocado are healthy fat, fiber, and they add a nice creamy texture. If you don't have avocados, no big deal. Just find something else that'll give you that creamy texture. Hummus is already doing that for us in this recipe, but you could use a nut butter, you could use cream cheese, depending on what else you're putting in your wrap. To open up the avocado, hold it in one hand and then carefully with a sharp knife, press into the flesh until you feel the pit, and then just roll the avocado along the blade all the way around. Open up the two sides, hold the side with the pit, press the blade into the pit and just do a quick turn and the pit should come loose. And then you can just scoop out the avocado with a spoon. You can carefully make some slices. So this recipe recommends using carrots, cucumbers, and bell peppers. This is nice because you can choose all different colors, and we always say eat the rainbow. The more colors, the better. Each color represents a different nutrient in the fruit or vegetable. So there are lots of ways we can cut this carrot to put in a wrap. One really easy way is just to shred it on a vegetable shredder or a cheese grater, and then it's easy to sprinkle in and roll up the wrap. You can also hold it using a bridge where you have your thumbs and your fingers on opposite sides, and then you put the blade between your fingers, cut down the middle, and then you can cut smaller depending on what size you want. Carrots add crunch, they add color, but if you don't have carrots, whatever you have or whatever you prefer will work for this recipe. Cucumbers also add crunch, they add a little freshness, and they also contain a lot of water, so they contribute to hydration. Usually I sort of peel the cucumber in stripes to leave a little bit of the crunchy skin on. You can either cut it into matchsticks or you can make slices and then maybe cut them in half to make moon shapes, and that'll wrap really well. And then we have a bell pepper, which also is gonna add crunch and a little bit of freshness to the wrap. The easiest way to cut the bell pepper is to set it flat on the cutting board and then cut down along each of these bumpy parts, and then you come away with nice pieces that you can slice really thin to put in the wrap. So now we're ready to assemble the wrap. I just lay it flat out on my prep surface and I spread on the hummus or the mashed beans. They're going to act like the glue that holds the wrap together. And then we add our avocado slices and then just add some of each ingredient. We don't want to overfill it because we want it to stay wrapped nice and tightly, and you can cut it in half if you're going to eat it for a meal, or if you want just part of it or snacks, you can cut it into pinwheels.
Hi everyone, I'm McKenna. I'm the health educator and one of the registered dietitian nutritionists here at God's Love We Deliver. Today we have a chickpea, cucumber, and bulgur salad. The recipe is really high in fiber, it has a lot of good vitamins and minerals, and it's a great snack or a meal. So let's get started. We'll start with cutting our cucumbers. If you don't have cucumbers at home, you can use any crunchy vegetable. So you could use radish, jicama, bell peppers, carrots, or anything else you'd like to put in the salad. Cucumbers and vegetables are really great because they provide us with a lot of vitamins, minerals, and fiber, which all make us really healthy. Fiber is really good for our stomach health, and it can also help with managing your blood sugar levels. We'll start by cutting the cucumber in half, and then you'll cut each of the halves into another half, and then you'll just slowly chop small slices. The next ingredient you'll need is a can of beans. I chose chickpeas, but you can use whatever beans you have at home. So you could do black beans, pinto beans, black-eyed peas, edamame, really any sort of bean. Beans again provide us with vitamins, minerals, and fiber. It's really important to drain all of the salty liquid from the can of beans in a colander in the sink. So if you're not able to buy low sodium canned beans, you can just make sure to rinse your beans off in the sink. So the next step is to grab your grain of choice. I chose bulgur, but you could use quinoa, brown rice, teff, or millet. Really any grain you have at home will work great in this recipe. In order to make the bulgur, you will bring 1 1/4 cup of water to a boil. Once the water is boiling, you will then add your 1 cup of bulgur and reduce the heat to off. You will then let the bulgur sit for 20 to 30 minutes, and at that point it should be done. Grains provide you with really great energy, vitamins, minerals, and fiber, so it's great to add a grain to all of your meals and your snacks. Try and choose whole grains, which do have the fiber in them, rather than white or refined grains, which remove the fiber. You can even make your own salad dressings at home. 2 ingredients are 3 tablespoons of lemon juice and 3 tablespoons of any oil of your choice. Today I have vegetable oil, but you could use avocado oil or olive oil as well. But liquid vegetable oils are a way to provide some healthy fats into your diet. The next ingredients are 1 teaspoon of black pepper and then a salt-free seasoning of your choice. Salt-free seasonings can provide extra flavor without adding any extra salt, which is really important to watch throughout the day while you're eating your meals and your snacks. The next ingredient is a 1/4 cup of Greek yogurt. I have non-fat Greek yogurt, but if you don't like yogurt, you could use cottage cheese, hummus, ricotta cheese, or even a dairy-free yogurt. But the yogurt will really add great flavor to the dressing. It will also add protein, which is really important to get at all of your meals and snacks. If you don't want to buy an individual cup of Greek yogurt, you can always buy the larger tubs and use it throughout the week for yogurt parfaits in the morning and for other snacks as well. The next ingredient is 3 tablespoons of any fresh herb. Today I have fresh mint and then dried oregano. If you don't have fresh herbs at home, it's totally fine to use dried options as well. These last a lot longer in the cupboard rather than the fresh herbs that will spoil a little bit faster. But herbs provide a lot of great antioxidants that will help boost your meals and your snacks, and it's a great way to add flavor without adding any salt.
You will now combine all of your ingredients in a large mixing bowl. I am adding some lemon zest for additional flavor. Go ahead and mix everything together, and you can eat the salad on its own or with another protein like tofu, chicken breast, or lean ground meat.
Thanks for joining us today. We also wanted to remind you that when you're prepping these meals, you're also prepping nutritious snacks.
So a lot of these ingredients can be used to make snacks throughout the week. You can cut up vegetables and have them either with the chickpea dip or a yogurt-based dip. You can also have the wrap or the chickpea bulgur cucumber salad as a snack throughout the day.
Check out the God's Love website for more cooking demonstrations and nutrition resources.